All right, welcome back to the waiting room with Dr. SEC. We're going to go back to the Net Talk hotline at this time, and we're going to be joined by the sports editor of the Oxford Citizen, John Davis, who does a fantastic job covering the Ole Miss Rebels. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, thanks for having me. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate so much you taking some time being with us. Of course, Ole Miss this weekend's got maybe a much-needed break. I think is a fair statement after the gauntlet that they've had over the last several weeks prior to last week's game. This team, Ole Miss team, just from a mental standpoint, how are they doing right now?
Well, we were able to talk to him through Wednesday, and E.T. Shackelford, who's a guy that a lot of people know that follow SEC, been around now 6 years. He said that this was a much-needed break, and it's rare for them to get one this particular week. You can't really get one much later, and it comes at the best time because they still have to figure out a way to incorporate wide receivers to replace Laquan Treadwell, or at least some of the production. You can't really replace a guy like him, but I think it gives them a chance to get rested up because they were beat up right after the LSU game. During the LSU game, heck, when Larry Tunsil goes out in the second half, in the third quarter, and it kind of changes the complexion of the offense. So the long and short of it, it seems like it was been really good timing to have got it this late. There's teams that are having to play, every week in November, and Ole Miss is fortunate enough to have some break before definitely their biggest game in 2 weeks against State, and a game against another tough team that could potentially beat you up in Arkansas.
Absolutely, and looking at this, and you're right, absolutely right, a much-needed break. And I'll still say this, had Ole Miss been able to stay healthy, I still feel like they were the best team in the country simply because that defense, when healthy, could shut down, it seemed like, anybody. And, of course, the loss of Kendichi at linebacker really hurt them a lot in the Auburn game. I think, that was a really bad game to have to kind of adjust to that. But going forward, this defense kind of rebounds. The offense hopefully kind of gets going. The problem is that they don't have a whole lot more room for physical error because, as you said, two very, very physical teams await them in Arkansas and Mississippi State.
Right. I think, the college football playoff is probably out. I'm kind of from Missouri on that one. I think we've all got to go through at least 1 year to kind of really know if a two-loss team is out of it. But, until Mississippi State loses, until Florida State loses, until some of these other teams have two losses, it's hard to believe that Ole Miss is going to be, that team to kind of jump from one-loss teams or no-loss teams. Anyway, they still have a lot to play for. The crazy thing about all this, and we'll know a lot more after Mississippi State plays Alabama, but in theory, if everything, if you're an Ole Miss fan and everything goes your way, you could still be winning the West and playing in Atlanta. Which ultimately, if that happens, I hate to say it, there's an Ole Miss fan that wouldn't want to go play for the national championship,
Yeah.
but really getting to Atlanta, winning the West, going to the championship game because they're the only team, in the West that's done that. The new teams,
Yes.
and Missouri. Missouri actually did it already, but Ole Miss is that team that hadn't done it. I really think that's what Ole Miss fans are desiring more than anything else, and a great bowl. So you still got a lot to play for, even if you don't get ultimately to the college football championship.
Absolutely, and once again, this is a team, as you said, if they can just get a couple breaks. It's really weird this season how it's kind of turned out. I was talking just a moment ago how early on, Alabama cheering for some Alabama fans were having to grudgingly cheer for Auburn to beat Ole Miss, and now you turn around and it's just having to cheer for teams you normally wouldn't cheer for. But in this case, I guess going forth, you just got to kind of hope everybody catches two losses. Ole Miss gets there. They're still, with that defense, if they can just get healthy, they're still as dangerous as anybody in the country. But looking forward to Arkansas, This is a game that how healthy are they going to be back after this game? Obviously, we know Kim Dietzy's situation. We know Treadwell's situation. Outside of that, are they beginning to Pruitt and others beginning to heal up a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's going to give it a go. Tunsil will be healthier than he's been going into Auburn, going into Arkansas. Some of the other guys that have concussions, the concussion stuff is a little tougher to really comment on now.
Yeah.
The doctors obviously have to clear them. But, as far as I know, as far as anybody else really does, I mean, you can have a great couple, 3, 4, 5 days, and next thing you know, have a relapse for all I know. Nobody knows concussion. The doctors will clear them if they're ready to go. They'll play. They won't put them out there in jeopardy. But, there's still a little bit of time for the concussion guys. Octavius Bynum, Trey Elston, they said Keith Lewis now got a concussion. Those have always been the biggest mystery to me. How do you figure they're going to be good until the doctor says they're good? So I think they're going to be as healthy as they've been in a long time. Going back to the LSU game, to the start of the LSU game. But I also know that anytime you start to get into a war with Arkansas, some of these injuries that have kind of healed up temporarily come right back out. So, lick your wounds, play your last 2 games as hard as you can, let the chips fall where they may. That's where you're at this time of year.
Absolutely. And, of course, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, obviously the emergence of the 2 programs are going to bring a lot of comparisons. But to me, Mississippi State team is more senior heavy laden. Ole Miss and their top playmakers obviously are young guys and should be very, very good next year. Of course, the question is going to be the quarterback position. And after Bo Wallace, I mean, once you get past Bo and his career will soon be over, and has, despite all the criticisms, has had a really good career. Who's that guy? Are they kind of starting to prep a guy to be the next guy in line?
Well, I mean, they have. They've played both quarterbacks, Devontae Kincaid and Buchanan, both redshirted last year, and then, both played some this year. I think that Ryan Buchanan is the guy that I think they would start if we had to, go win a drive, as Coach Reed would call it. In the spring, I think he's going to have the nod. Kincaid could knock him out for all we know. I mean, I don't even know if the spring's been completely decided. I think it'll go through summer drills to a degree. And they probably will still end up playing both. Kincaid's more of a dual guy. But I do think Buchanan has got a little bit of a leg up. And I think next year's offense can be really good, even with a new quarterback. They're going to have everybody back from the offensive line. They're going to have everybody back from a running back standpoint, and they're going to have everybody back except for Vince Sanders from a wide receiver standpoint. The biggest question from that wide receiver standpoint will be, where's Laquan? They think he'll be back for a spring. I don't know. I don't know if you push him back. They say 4 months. That's ideal. I think he's ready for the summer. But, again, until you really know how he gets out there and runs around, where's he going to stand with that injury? If everything goes literally, ideally, according to plan, all that kind of stuff, you've got your main weapon back, and you've got a lot of other good players that have been redshirting to help them out. Evan Ingram at tight end. So a lot of pieces there on offense where I think they can be really good regardless of who the quarterback ultimately ends up being.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. I think it's really it's a program that if they could keep up the momentum, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Let me ask you about Laquan Treadwell. Obviously, one of the most terrible endings to a game I've ever seen on so many levels because the injury on top of the fumble that was ruled or overturned as a fumble, all the things that went on in that game. I can't imagine a much worse way to end the game. But Laquan, I know he's saying 4 months. Is he him right now, rehabbing? What's going on with Treadwell?
Well, yeah, he had surgery, right after the injury happened. Sunday morning he's in the hospital recovering from it. He's been back around the team going into the Presbyterian game. And I don't know, we really hadn't asked about him this week. With it being an off week and just in general, I think we've kind of, I don't know if we've gotten past the Treadwell injury, but we've kind of, we dealt with that more so going into the Presbyterian game. And, he is back with the team. He is out of the hospital. He is in recovery mode. I would think the earliest he does any kind of moving around would be, in January. I would imagine he goes through bowl season just watching mental reps, that kind of stuff, being around the team, kind of help, as Coach Freeze called it, coaching up the receivers. I would think January is when he would even start to even think about potentially doing heavy rehab as far as walking around or lightly jogging or anything like that. And that's just a guess. I would think we're going to have to get a better update on where he really is once we hit bowl practices. Once they get done with exams and once bowls happen, because the next two games are he's still going to be so close to that injury to where there's not going to be much progress. I would think we're going to start to know more once the bowl preparation starts.
Absolutely. Once again, we're talking to John Davis, Sports Expert Citizen. John, I appreciate so much you taking some time and being with us. Can you let our listeners know where they can go and read your articles, and also as well where they can follow you on Twitter?
Twitter's Oxford Citizen JD, and then our website is. If you go to the Twitter, it's on there. Everybody's got a link to their website nowadays. Kind of a cross promotion either way, but OxfordCitizen.com is the main website. Of course, I've got stuff on InsideOleMissSports.com, which is our blog supported by the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal on Tupelo.
Absolutely. Once again, they can find you at Oxford Citizen JD. I want to encourage all of our listeners to go over and follow them there. You'll find the very best of Ole Miss football, and you might as well get used to reading about them because they're going to be here for quite a while, I do believe, John.
I agree. I think the next portion this year I don't know where they'll end up with a bowl, but I think next year, the next couple of years, really, I don't see them really changing much. I really think that Coach Freeze and his staff recruit so well, they'll be around. They will definitely be a player. But you have to be when you play in the SEC West.
Yeah.
If you don't keep up with the Joneses, you really fall behind on this side of the bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about that with Arkansas just a little bit earlier, that, hey, no matter how much improved Arkansas is, they picked the absolute worst division in college football to have to try to rebuild in. If you read over and listen, the East is a lot better. Good credit, but
they're 5-win team. They have 4. I think they'll end up with 5.
Yeah.
I think they're going to beat. I think they're going to win one of the 3. If they're on listening, I hope it's not you. But the point is, I think they fall short of 6. I think they're definitely good enough to be in a bowl. I think their schedule is even tougher than you would like in that rebuild situation. But they are definitely the best 4 or 5-win team you ever want to see. Obviously, they could go in a lower division. I'm talking about like conference. Say something. That's obvious. I think they could go win a couple of the other ones. Could you imagine them and Florida State facing off in the ACC championship game?
Absolutely.
I don't think Florida State would want that. So bottom line is it's tough, and Arkansas is much better than their record indicates.
Absolutely. Once again, John, we appreciate taking so much time being with us and hope to have you on again soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That was awesome.
All right. Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, bud.